Ola 7. Skipan. 8. I've been learning, man. In my hotel room, overlooking the beach. In Zimbabwe, we're landlocked. There is no beach. It's been a beautiful experience, and I wish this was a speech because I could go on and on for the 20 minutes, but I try to put everything in my poetry. Everything that I planned to perform when I came out here, it just, I don't know where it went, because I had brand new experiences. Experience number 1. Durban is beautiful. And I was afraid to come to South Africa because of what I see on TV, because of what some of the people that come here bring back home, and they say, oh, when you walk, put your phone away, when you do this, do that. It's the only thing they tell me. So I'm thinking, crap, how do I go there? I've been planning this trip for a long time, and then Poetry Africa just invited me, and I didn't know if I should come or not. But this is the poem that I wrote, inspired by Paige, right over here. So I wrote it, was yesterday, Paige? Yesterday we took the walk to the beach, and then I wrote this. It's got no title. The gates that keep me from seeing the back of my television set. The gates that keep me from seeing the back of my television set. The gates that keep me from seeing behind the back of my television set. I almost didn't take a walk in South Africa. It just reeked too much of the blood red stained on my newspaper, telling exaggerated half-truths of, I don't know, that stench. I almost didn't believe in her sanity. They made her language sound aggressive, and I never thought I would discover myself in a language unfamiliar to my tongue. They reduced her to a flesh-eating machine. I was afraid to step off the airplane. I thought I would fall on a knife and become a dead sensation with a complicated court case hovering over the memory of me. And these borders that God knows who created, these politics and pole tricks that limit me to a specific space, time, and mind frame. These gates that keep me from seeing the back of my television set, this gate that keeps me from seeing the back of my television set. I thought I was too fat to go to the beach, too plus to fit into a bikini. They led me to deny my feet the chance to encounter that deep, soothing, soft, naked sand. I deprived my soul the waters because of them. I almost didn't get up from that couch to feel the ocean breathe, to rub shoulders with my sisters. I almost didn't see Azania's face in Vangi's eyes. I almost didn't get the opportunity to just look at Kwazi's hair and feel the history of its growth. I almost didn't see Nigeria's foolishness in Daga's silence. I almost didn't take a walk with Paige. I almost didn't meet Africa. These gates that keep me from seeing the back of my television set. These gates that keep me from seeing the back of my television set. I almost wasn't here. Thank you. And then I got the flu. So I think it was for a purpose, because the whole set that I had prepared had to change because I didn't have the energy for it. I had to read. And because I had to read, I was reading the old things and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna write about my experience right now. So the next piece, this is for Renee et Audrey. I don't know how to say it in French. Are they here? Where are you? Oh, they're in the back. So they asked me, and along with a lot of other people, to talk about the political situation in my country, about Robert Mugabe. And you guys know that my first lady has a PhD. What do you do with the footage that you take here? Where does this footage go? I need to be sure. But they asked me to talk about that. But my first lady, our first lady, she has a PhD. Just Google it. I don't want to say too many things in front of the camera. But so they wanted me to say things, and here's what I have to say. A lot of people want me to say something about you, my Zimbabwe, and particularly you, my president. But I never got around to laying you down on my canvases. Perhaps I have adhered to our culture of silence and adaptation. I do think about you and desperately want to tell our story, the story of the gallant sons and daughters of the resilient nation. But today, I am too sick. You see, I'm down with the flu. The doctor gave me cough syrup, antibiotics, and probiotics to clear out the disease, but they haven't quite made me well yet. I guess that's how medicine works. The syrup makes me drowsy, the antibiotics give me thrush, and the pro-antibiotics make the thrush go away, but they have long-term effects. But eventually, I'll be okay. Only then will I write for them the story about Zimbabwe. Or perhaps I have already written it. You just need to find it in this poem. Thank you. All right, so I hope you heard what I said about the situation in my country. It's in the cough syrup somewhere there. Now I will move over there so that there's some dramatic effect to this performance, and I will now perform a poem about love. Right. Hello. Hola. Hola, Sevin. Skipper. So this poem is dedicated to the man that I haven't met because I would like him to love me properly. So what I will do, maybe he's here, I don't know, is I always recite it in case he's there, right? Just in case. So I'm pretty much just saying how I would love you. Oh, is he? Just stand up, let's see how you look, maybe. It's a 20-minute set, so I'll see you just now. But this is how I put myself in the shoes of the man, and I say how I would love the woman. If I were a man and you were my woman, then I would indeed smother you with kisses and damn you with lies to make you feel beautiful on your skin so you may believe in the honesty of the beauty within. And if you were the soil and I were your sky, then I would touch you dearly with every raindrop I lay on your breast and heat you up so your heart beats fast enough to cool your mind so you can think of me, only me. Because in nature's eye, you would be my soil and I would be your sky. And in nature's dream, if you were a galaxy lost in the distance, then I would discover you, uncover you, look at you and fly around you so I may surround you with an aura of ecstasy. So you may feel high. So high you yearn for the gravity of my galaxy eternally. You would be mine. And if you were a stone and I a tree, then I would kiss you and lay you by the riverside surrounded by my roots so you could brag to the waters as they swim past of the love I bear for you. You would certainly, undoubtedly be mine. And when nature awakes from this dream, I will be your reality and create illusions to tickle your eye like a magic show. I would watch you raise your eyebrows and then, right then, I would kiss you again and take you through all the fantasies of love making with our fingers intertwined and feet perfectly aligned, our lips curving into designs reflecting our heart's desires, our complexions blending like a fine art piece. And then your gravity consumes me. I am no longer your man nor you my woman, but we become a fine art piece inseparable. If I were your man and you were my woman, then I would adore you. Thank you. Next poem. It's, I forgot. I had practiced saying 4 in Zulu, and I don't know. But it's the 4th one, I think. It says 4 on my page. Yeah, that. I will check with him in 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I was conceived in the wrong womb, that my mother believed in the false truth. I'm sorry that I went to school that day. I didn't know that I could choose not to. I'm sorry that I understand that in order for the rain to fall, the waters must rise first. I apologize sincerely for having faith in a God I have never seen because I experience his love. I am sorry that I did not know that God chose only you to speak for him, that I should have listened only to your instructions. Please forgive us for not seeking deliverance through you on time. We were so caught up living a selfishly happy and beautiful, loving life with our families. We had no time for your truth. Please forgive us. We were trying to fulfill ourselves. We realize now that we were wrong. Wrong to misunderstand God, to think he wanted us to enjoy his magnificence. We were much too naive to believe he was a peaceful deity. We were stupid not to recognize his beloved servant, Apupaka Shekau. Thank you. Number 5. It's a short one. It has no title. I remember a time when revolutionary poems were not written, yet they were read with the most passion. When intellect was genuinely a simple man expressing his desire to be free. A time when these words were not sold, yet provided for our very sustenance. When poems were written by both mind and heart, delivered by unamplified voices. When intellect was not embedded in books, but was passed down from father to mother, to child, to wife, to sister, to friend, in pure conversation. A time when stories were told for the sake of telling, and yet still inspired the course of our history. Those days when a poem remained a virgin, no matter how many times it was told, for it retained its purity. I remember when poetry meant life and life was poetic, when we expressed emotions before we could spell them in any language. I remember those days like it was just the day before I was born. I often wonder what sort of memories this generation of ancestors will be remembered for. Thank you. Give me time to choose my last poem. Expectations. Africa expects too much from me as a woman, and I want to live. I keep the floors polished. I can see my reflection in this linoleum perfection. I dream of bare feet floating on them. Only them will I dance for. Now my duty is to keep them clean. Away, away, my friends tread on them oh so carelessly. This is my lover's red carpet. I must keep it clean. Hard day at work, exhaustion. I take my shoes off at the door and tiptoe so as not to dirty the floor. Atrocity on the floor, though. A stain so dark, the ambience of the room is deformed. Quick, quick, my heart screams. Clean it up with a menacing tone. I run, a faithful servant, and although I'm bone weary, I scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub and scrub until my fingers begin crying red tears, but I scrub on until my eyes start bleeding too, so exhausted. I look at this empty house. The glistening floors are my only pride, though their joy depletes my very nature. My dreams suspended in mid-air awaiting my homemaker. Mrs. Hindsight, my next-door neighbor, pays a monthly visit and says the same thing every time. My child, a man is not a world. You're going to die with all these dreams suspended in mid-air. Put your feet on the ground, settle down. I don't say a thing anymore. I used to ask, settle down alone? Cursed life for sure. But a tiny voice at the very back of my subconscious self wonders what it would feel like to create this home, to put plush rugs for my tired feet to rest on, to put crystal chandeliers to dainty up the empty necks of the ceiling. Ah, bring life to this world she keeps so dull and clean to create her heart on the floor. After all, they're just floors. What could be so wrong about dancing on them? Watch them come alive as they dance under the watchful eye of a multicolored disco ball. What could be wrong with being the homemaker? She wonders if a lover would be grateful or feel patronized. Thank you. There is no discreet way of doing this. So I'm just going to check if I have time for one more piece. She said, yebo. So my final piece is When a Woman is Loved. This piece is to really just encourage, you see, when a woman hates you, when a woman hates you and a Zulu poet, I hope he's Zulu, or let me just say South African. And a South African poet writes about it and performs it at Poetry Africa, and a Shona girl understands it. That woman hurt you. And yesterday, I heard a poem. I didn't understand the language, but I knew there was some woman in there that did some nasty things. But the opposite is true. When you love a woman, very good things happen. This is my final piece, When a Woman is Loved. Inspired by my mother, because my father loves that woman like crazy. When a woman is loved, words cannot handle the situation. They cannot reveal the simplicity of the complication. See, she becomes beyond meaningful definition, like an abstract work of art, and everything is too cliche to put your finger on it. On that day, poetry will not be enough. In fact, it will be unnecessary. For the very toes on her feet will scribble art pieces in her path. Her veins will be a new form of vocabulary, and her breath will speak into existence the fantasies of her childhood. See, the beating of her heart will be like a djembe. The djembe sound will bring music to her bones, and the bending of her bones will be an unceasing dance. And the dance will bring clarity to the music in her head. See, her head and her feet will be completely in sync, so that the thudding of her feet will be an expression of her beauty. and her beauty will be redefined and unconfined, for the texture of her skin becomes as supple as the interior of her womb. Her shadow will mascara her body, her hair will accessorize her face, and her eyelashes will frame her vision so that only perfection will touch her sclera. And her sclera will be as white and bright as the fullness of the moon, and her fullness will absorb her beholder. And when she loves him, she will turn her mind inside out and put her head over her heels. Yes, she will go crazy, mad crazy, and impossible comes within the reach of her weaker arm. She takes the inadequate and sufficiently trickles it down her spirit, and it reaches her lover without interference. For the service provider connecting her to him is kept available at all peak and off-peak hours. And the peak her connection reaches is beyond time's measure. Hours won't matter, no days won't matter, and years will be like minutes. She will live in a timeless time zone. Yes, she will go crazy, mad crazy. She will not need words to express her interior, because her interior becomes exterior, extraordinary, expandable, exciting, excruciatingly attractive, exactly the kind that makes me exaggeratedly try to make every word rhyme when explaining her state of ecstasy. But she will not need words, because her smile will be immaculate, even when she does not speak, even if her face were expressionless, even if she were asleep. Because when a woman is loved, she becomes love. Thank you very much.